All right, everyone. We should be live now. It's good to see. We are live. Very happy for all of you. Okay, I'm sorry. I was just testing something out. Is this okay? Is the angle okay? What is this? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think it's the best angle, but we have to live with it, I guess. Or should it? Okay, let me see if I can. Okay, we can change our monitor to that and we can assume that it would work. So just give me 1 second, everyone. I I am still. Which one am I looking for? Possibly looking for the DP one. Yeah, there you go. All right, everyone. We should be good now. I should be seeing this way now. So yeah. मैंने इसकी गली को छोड़ा था. I was just listening to travel songs. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm gonna check if anyone is here yet. All right. No one is here. Cool. That means we haven't really lost anyone. If you're here, you can feel free to like this stream, do that. And while we also ensure, um, okay, cool. All right, I'll let everyone join, but we will also start. I was just thinking, open source, do I have, what's the matter? Hello, hi Tachi, hi Swanand, what's up? Nothing here, there's no matter at all. Thought I should stream, it's been some time. I mean, it's not been some time, I know I streamed, I'm just so used to it. ट्रांसलेशन बैंड अच्छा ट्रांसलेशन बंद अच्छा ओके यस हो गया क्या सही हो गया अरे क्या बात है अच्छा ये ट्रांसलेशन बंद कर हाँ यार ये कैसे होता है नॉट व्हाट्स द मैटर क्या बात है हेलो no it's actually funny यार it's actually funny you said what's the matter sorry you said क्या बात है and it ended up becoming this so it's quite cool actually quite funny. I'll probably keep my chat there so that I can keep reading and the main I can zoom in a beat rest peacefully on Sunday शांति से आराम करो ना संडे को सैटरडे है पहली बात तो so now I'm very sure that you're writing in Hindi and I'm trying to just read through the English one rest peacefully on Sunday शांति से but the tone suddenly changes right like it's quite funny because let's say if I say यार चल ना भाई rest कर and compared to just saying hey uh, I think in English it would be get a life, bro, right? Something of that sort, possibly. मैंने उसकी गली को छोड़ा. So I've been thinking about it. Given we have something in our plate, one line. Yeah. So when was is there this one get log help and RG short? Yeah. So get log short stat is possibly what I'm looking for. Does it work with one line? Yeah, there you go, right? So what I am possibly looking for is the oldest commit that we have done to this particular branch. What to make today? आज क्या बना रहा है, right? क्या बना रहे हैं आज? It says what to make today. Quite cool. Just 1 second. All right, so I was actually thinking like if you all remember we were working on context pilot before, right? And I wanted to see if we can really go back, improve things here, right? And see if that makes any sense, right? So I just wanted to ensure that, okay, if we had to build this from scratch without any AI, of course, but maybe, seek help from Gemini or Google AI at some point of time, just like Stack Overflow for us. But if we had to rebuild it, how will the architecture look like, right? And that's what we're gonna do. Just one second, I'll unmute. What are we streaming? Hello, yeah, yo, yo, yo. It's quite funny. I don't know where this is coming from, Varu. Do you know like how to disable the translation here? Yo versus yes. I'm just checking online as well. Doesn't translate for you though. Okay, okay. So it's only translating for me. So it's possibly coming from Brave, which is trying to translate, if I'm not wrong. It could be just the Brave browser that's doing it. Okay, let me check. No, yeah, it's not the Brave browser at least. It's clearly, at least it's not for you, all right. So it doesn't translate for you, so it should be good. It's just me, possibly. It's a me problem, right? Cool. Okay. I think what we can do is we can skip that part and we can start thinking about what we want to build here, right? So just FYI, the plan over here is to start thinking about context palette again if we had to rebuild it from scratch without having too much bias on what we did before. How will that look like? Now, before I come back to it, I just want to quickly mention that we did create an MCP, not really an MCP, but a skill out of it. So that skill already exists that guides Cloud Code on how to get this plugin installed and make it servable, right? So, of course, it's not, I think I moved to a server architecture eventually, but it's still just calling context pilot binary with some of the paths we had, and it could just fetch all the details that it needed while the database was JSONified. So at that point, we had database as JSON, and this time I'm thinking what are the, like, at least not bias, but we can come up with, let's say, CD streams, mkdir. Okay, no, I think this is fine. What's the date today? 30/05 2026. Let's have it in this format, right? Mkdir p context pilot, cpilot, right? And let's do cargo init. Okay, good start, right? So let's go and create a readme here, right? Learning lessons from the last time, right? So there are few decisions we took and that kind of haunted us. First is the diff algorithm not being tested properly across different type of GitHub repositories and right and histories. So this is like one of the problems I faced was initially I tested this out across one repository which did not have a lot of moves, copy, rename, or you know something of that sort. And this time I'm planning that okay, we should possibly have some unit tests running, right? So unit tests are a must. So here we will use AI, but we'll also start writing our own unit tests to begin with, right? And that's like one of the reasons I'm saying, while a lot of people do say that you can automate writing unit testing, the whole cases and all via AI, but in my personal opinion, I've always felt that if you are the one who is writing tests, you would also know what is all covered, what is the real coverage and all. So it just becomes more transparent for you. So my goal is that, okay, the very basic ones that I would want to test, and of course, the edge cases that I would like to test, I'll write them myself and I'll try to mock all those client server architecture, whatever that we would want, mock the data as well. If we have to patch anything, we'll do. We'll ensure that some of those unit tests are written by ourselves so that we can eventually trust. In 2026, who writes code with hand? Who plans like this? What are you, a senior dev? I mean, I get your point. Uh, and I know you're kidding, but overall, like for everyone else, my learning lesson has been that when you are in the hobby area, when you are not really making money out of this, what you should do is you should go back to what you would love. And to me, an absolute love is designing, systems that work and problems, not designing problems, not defining problems, but mostly defining solutions to the problems that exist. And for me, I think doing that by hand just makes more sense right now. It's fun. So that's the only reason. While you're at work, though, you should use all the advanced and modern tools that we already do. Right. So that's, yeah, that's one thing. So very first lesson was diff algorithm not being tested properly. Second one was server architecture, right? I think should it be a binary? Should it be a server client architecture? Hello. Hi, Dave. I do have a Cloud Code window, but it's not really doing what we want here. So it's basically doing something with the Citrix workspace and Hyperland integration that I'm not much interested in. But of course, like it wasn't able to help my problem. So I think I'll have to go back and read the docs. Um, the stream will get cancelled because of that. Yeah, people will call me dumb, I guess. It should not be binary always. It should be a binary always. Server architecture for this is not logical, like at least for use case. Plus, running a server constantly eats up port points, even though there are so many, but still. Right. So, okay. It's a good point to discuss, right? So let's go back and talk about where are we going to use this. Now, of course, when you have a server client architecture, right? What I would want is I want it to scale, right? I want it to have its own rate limiting. I want a client so people can write their own clients, but the server is owned by us, right? Now, imagine the cloud code across multiple states is trying to call this, right? Now, this is something that the server will be hosted locally for anyone, right? We are definitely not having it on cloud. So scaling is only per user basis. It's not across per many users or per, it could be per, like, let's say if I'm in a professional Outlook, right? And the manager is like, they decide, okay, we'll have one workstation that will host this as a server and everyone can keep calling it. Uh, I think in those cases, server client architecture makes more sense. Although it comes with its own maintainability cost because when the server is down, uh, it does help you to figure out that server is down, right? You could do things, you could have a backup server as well running something. But yeah, I mean, there are two things to manage now, server and a client, right? And you might have unnecessary uh, headache of having all those things, right? What font is this, by the way? I was just thinking about this today. Let me check. Should be Dank Mono if okay, no, Fira, I think. Okay, yeah, I switched to Dank Mono recently. So this is Dank Mono, nerd font. Uh, it's yeah, this is the font I'm using. Right. So at least for my use case here, if I'm the only one trying it out, or if a particular user is trying it out, I think I agree that having it as a binary may not make sense. But think about this. You would want to store something in the cache, right? And it's the easiest way to do it via a server, right? Because a server has its own identity, right? Like I could always pass a unique ID. Um, Right, like think about it, right? So let's say if I would want a server, right, and this is per project basis, right? So you can have a cache per project basis. Now having, let's say you would start two binary, right, across two like same folder, you could have dot cache folder exist and store all the cache given the unique ID that you have per project basis, right? Now, of course, that's one thing that's hard to manage and easier done by a server because now what that does is you launch a server, you store each project's cache just easily within the server logic, and you don't need to worry about the file system, right? So that's like one of the things I was thinking, right? Because it just makes it easier, right? I don't want to rely on file system. That's one of the lessons I've learned. Because first, do you want to probably manage all the file paths yourself. Bec- Additionally, every file system, every Windows operating system, Mac OS, all these things will have a different cache folder, right? And I have struggled historically with figuring out what's the home. There are third-party libraries that do it. So same for the cache folder as well. I think we'll have to do. Imagine you are running it on Windows, but having it on WSL, right? Now the whole cache thing becomes interesting. No, it does, but what's like, how would you refer that into code, right? You would have to use some third-party library because home in Mac is very simple. Like you have probably library, I forgot the username or something, right? Or something of that sort, right? Or it was different. But on Windows, it's all very tricky. It's true, right? So that's what I've been thinking, right? I'm not saying that when I started this off, binary was the easiest win here, right? So I overall agree with. Hello, hi, mommy. Hello, thank you for joining. Yeah, so this is a difficult problem to deal with, right? Like that's what I've been saying that okay, auntie's name. Yes, mama is here. Yeah, hi, mommy. Welcome, welcome. Right, so what we have been thinking is should it be a binary versus should it be a server? Now, with the binary it's very easy win, but with server client architecture, I think it just makes gives me more power. In case if anyone wants to stay happy with it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Right. So what we'll have to do here is we'll have to think about what should be the. Okay, I got distracted. Okay, I'll try focusing back again. Now with the server client architecture, it will be easier for anyone to call the local host, right? If they let's say they own the ISP or they have any static server to call across a workstation, right? They'll have something here. Now a good thing about this is the cache is owned by the server itself. Now this is where it gets all tricky, right? So when authentication comes into place, right? Now think about this, Varanium, Dave, and all, right? So think about this. Let's say you have two projects, right? Now you were given access to it initially, but you have been revoked access, right? So this Git access should not be there anymore. But imagine you as an organization knowing that, okay, this all is in the cache right now. Now, with the server, you would want some authentication eventually that says that, okay, even if the folder is cached right now for that particular user, maybe that particular user is now laid off, fired, promoted, demoted, transferred to another team. There are all the, I think, worst and best cases available, right? In that case, as a server, I will be able to say that, okay, I made some change, I'll restart the server. As a binary, though, it always restarts. So yeah, I mean this is all very tricky. That's why I'm thinking. But of course, with this all this thought, I think we are overcomplicating. Not really overcomplicating, but this becomes a more complicated project to handle. But for sure, a lot of interesting stuff we'll have to handle here. Yeah, I mean, see, that's what, right? Why can't you have a binary which pings a server for such mundane check? Uh, yeah, I mean, see, this auth. The thing is, you don't want to delete the cache. Let's say Varu and Dev should have the same cache. And the reason I say this is for optimization purposes, right? There are read-only systems that people have in the organizations that no one is like allowed to write on, right? Now, in that case, let's say you would want, okay, I have the cache there. I don't want to delete the cache. So Varu is, let's say he's moving to another team, right? And then in that case, they should not lose the access of the cache that we had, right? So I'm just thinking, and let's say like Varu rejoins the team, right? And it's a simple thing for me that okay, if the cache, I think the um, cache layer could have an auth check, right? Whether that particular user is allowed to like for that particular project, right? So this is on the per project basis. If it now becomes yes for Varu, it's nothing, like nothing changes on the client side, right? So that's like one thing to learn for all of us as well. When you have a server client architecture, uh, all the complications that you have within your code, for example, imagine as a binary. If I'm running a binary that's like long standing, okay, let's say that I created my own binary on the top of context pilot binary, right? In that case, what will happen is I'll have to go and ask everyone, hey, can you please close your binary and restart it again for the changes that we have done. With server, let's say if a particular admin owns that server, they can always restart with the changes, right? And they don't have to worry about whether the client is calling the old version or the new version. You could explicitly have versions in the client as well. That's not easily possible within the binary, unless until you tell the people that can you please run with this particular flag, right? So that's what I'm just thinking. Or we could do it on the client. We could always do it in the binary as well, with just doing latest or something of that sort. But I think here server client architecture just makes more sense. Um, given we plan to like scale it up. Just one second. Should I snipe his stream? Yes, he'll stop calling me for tea at this home though. Okay, you guys talking a lot. नहीं नहीं यार ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. I'm just trying to make the best tea possible. That's it. Hello यार. Hi JD. What's up? Yeah, don't call me genius. Are you the JD we know? Server it is baby. Yes, there you go. Right. So, at least so again, let's go back and think about it. Right. You would want auth. You would want cache layer. Right. And you would want OS agnostic. I hope that's the right word. Yes, sir. Not God. What's up? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Make way for Noddy. Noddy. खुल के बोलो हो रे. Ta. That's it. There you go. Okay, I don't think people can read my latest chat. So let's just do this. But then, okay, hopefully this is better. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we would want it OS agnostic as well. I would want people to be able to run it, right? And at the spaces, DB needs to. So DB will be there, then you would want rate limiting to be implemented. And the reason is, of course, let's imagine that everyone is running a Cloud Code agent and this eventually becomes a skill, right? So the goal is that this should become either a skill with instructions, right? Or an MCP as well, if needed. Now, do you all know what's the difference between an MCP and a skill? Okay, how many people know about this? Okay, let's see. Do they get this point that whether how do you know? Right, don't MCP, yes. And the reason here, see, MCP makes sense when you just want data, right? Like MCP is just a protocol that says that okay, how do I fetch data for AI to be used? Your server is full of agentic people, we know. MCP is basically everything, every tool call and description, it's a goddamn documentation. That's skill, right? So if I'm not wrong, what MCP is, it tells you how to get data. But skill can be a set of tool calls. It can be a description. It can be, no, if I'm not wrong. Okay. Yeah, okay. But I've never written an MCP. If MCP, okay, let's MCP GitHub. Let's look at one of the MCPs, right? I could be wrong. So let's say that, okay, let's look at Notion MCP, right? So this is an MCP server they have, right? So from what I understand, at least MCP is something where you can make calls, right? And available tool sets, which is what you mentioned. But all I'm worried about is it a documentation as well? Do they have any code base here? Yeah, there you go, right? Notion MCP server. So MCP is an API server. Your tool calls a request and the rest that goes into is just defined documentation. So an MCP can have their own documentation, right? So wait a minute. So MCP is just tool calls with documentation on how to use those tool calls, right? That's it. Okay, why do they have a 502? Yeah, okay, that makes sense, right? So that's okay. Yes, I agree on that. I just wasn't aware that they can have a documentation. I'm not sure which format that works though. But okay, so overall, this makes sense that MCP is somewhere you kind of define which tool to call, right? Yes. So a skill can also have documentation on how to use a tool and how and when to use a tool, how and when and where to use the tool, right? Not just tool, as Varu mentioned, it could be a binary, it could be anything, right? So here, when I just care for the data to be fetched, right, and not have too much instructions on how to use this particular data, I think MCP would just make more sense here. You just want raw data, you want something that the API provides by default, if I'm not wrong, right? But just when you enter the loop where you think the data is not really useful for the person, but the inference is, right? Like what do you really make out of it? In that case, I think skill would make more sense because we'll really define on when to call a particular tool, where to call, what to call, and post calling that particular tool, what should you do, right? Maybe there's something that we would want to do for the commit history and give them a tabular form, right? So, so one thing I'm just not sure, and if something, I think that just bridges the gap between MCP and skill, right? It's a very thin gap, but let's say if MCP instructions itself provided on how to do, like what to do after the tool is called, which I feel like it should be possible if you are allowing a documentation. But anyway, skill is something that you train yourself on how, like, skill is something like I know Python now. Python is a skill for me because I know how to use it, where to use it, what to use it, right? So I think that just bridges the gap. I'm not sure if they have really defined concretely, but we would know. Yeah, at this point, like MCP has become useless unless and until, yeah, if you can write in MCP, you can always write a skill, right? Because you'd know, like if you have any auth that you'd want, you can just ask the skill on how you can instruct it on how to do that. I think MCP, one thing of course is there that tools are useful. Not sure if MCP is useful anymore or not. Yes, and that's what I've been thinking, Dave. Like for controlled access in organizations and all, MCP works better because they can host their own thing and control. Yes, and that's what I mean. Like, see, MCP is a protocol we all agree. So MCP is not something that we are really hosting. A tool is what we are hosting, right? So let's say that you in your organization has access to, you have access to Slack, right? Now that's a particular tool that you're going to call when a person says it, what I have done in the last 1 week. Now that can be done by a skill as well, that can be done by an MCP as well, as long as the tool has a particular auth check, right? So that's what I mean. Um, and that this is where I come in, right? I'm not sure. So skill could be something, skill could not be used, but MCP, okay. हाँ, it's ये अपने आप retract हो गया क्या वरुण? Or did you retract? I did not. I have my hands free, by the way. अपने आप हुआ होगा तो it's all sorry about that, but yeah. Hmm. So yeah, I mean, it just gets interesting. Let's say a skill, sometimes you have to. I forgot we have an alert here. I did, okay. No, no, all good, all good. Okay, then that's all good. That's all good. But yeah, yes, in that case, I guess it's fine either way if the tool itself implements auth. Yeah, that's it, right? So, uh, and all I was saying was skill becomes more like a like an overhead, or what do you call it when you overdo something? I think you will just uh, over optimize on your requirement in case, because skill, if you don't want to write any instructions, let's say you just want an MCP that returns you the tool answer, right? You would want an MCP in that case because a tool cannot directly communicate to an AI, right? You need an MCP for that. So that's where MCP comes in. A tool is essentially useless unless until it's integrated via MCP with AI, while skill can also integrate with the tool. But I think for minor things where you just want data, right, with auth and all or whatever from the server endpoints, possibly MCP is the right way to go here, because you get all the data, and Cloud Code can have, I mean, Cloud or anything else can perform on the top of it. It's super confusing. It's, yeah, it's a good discussion to have though. So, so it does make sense for us to have rate limiting. I think that's where I started from. That for such cases, you would always want to rate limit the server so that you don't end up causing any harm on the DB. And here, the very first thing that we should decide is what should be the DB, right? Whether it's a file system with JSON or SQLite or something else, right? Now the thing that here is you would want a lot of writes on the top of the database, right? Because and of course there's more read as well, but you can't really say whether you would want more read or you would want to have more writes. Which one do you want to optimize here? And the reason this is very tricky is because you could have an organization that doesn't really commit to main, let's say every 2 minutes, every 3 minutes, and I doubt that there are any organizations in the world that commit unless until they're automated that commit to main every 1 minute, every 2 minutes, right? So in that case, it just means that you'll be having less of writes compared to reads, right? That is very clear. On a higher level, there will be people who will be calling the read operation more than write. So do we all agree for this that read over write? But do we all agree? Now, of course, that doesn't mean that we don't optimize on write, but it's okay, right? So let's say, yeah, agreed is yes. So that makes sense. Now, the thing is, uh, when you are reading, you would be fine with any database here, right? Like, I don't think if you have a particular project. Right. Okay, now let's go back. Okay, let's not think about the DB for now. What is Context Pilot? If we all remember, right? So what we wanted to do was store all the git commit history, right, into a DB so that now this git commit history is not really the history we're looking for. So we'll just say customize history, right? So that users can have, um, okay, this is on our part, right? What we'll be doing is we'll have to compute the history and this is on the per line basis. So what this means is now imagine you you committed this particular readme file. Okay, so let's actually do that. Let's say if I was doing it uh, in it with some thoughts, right? So I did this. Okay, now what I do is I delete context palette altogether, right? And I start something of my own, right? So in this case, what happens? Mm, modifying myself for testing, right? Now, if you see over here, now this gets very interesting because now earlier there were 42 lines of code, right? Or 42 lines of readme. Now there are only 38 lines of readme, right? What you would want is you would want to know what was existing before and what is like now there, right? It's very important. And the reason I say this is sometimes we end up saying that, okay, who renamed this function? Who introduced this argument? And it's not very easy to figure out for such operations, right? Let's say if I added a new argument to a particular function, how would you know via git log? I mean, it should not, it would always, it would not always be possible because for the cases where I rename the function, now let's say I move that function, okay, leave aside the rename function. I move that function, I refactored into a new file, right? Now I bring it back. And this time, when I bring it back, I add a new argument. So you would want to know what existed before moving that particular function to another file. And I believe GitLog doesn't really do it because it tinkers with your. It's not that you cannot figure it out. I'm sorry, I don't mean that you cannot go through GitLog yourself, but your git blame will not solve the problem because the line number has changed, right? The let's say the function name has changed, right? So you'll when you go back, probably I can explain with an example. Just 1 second, guys. I think you all understand my point, right? You have been catching up with context palette for so long. So the very first git blame might be correct, but when you go back to the git blame, there's a penultimate one that will not have the correct line numbers, right? Because it will now show you the revised file. So your current line number will change, right? So overall, what we would want is we would want to track the history on how this particular file was built. And PyCharm already has this feature. Okay, just FI, PyCharm has this feature. I'm assuming that Z was also working on a similar feature. BRB, okay, no issues. And just let me turn on the ACM. It's very hot here, right? So PyCharm already has this feature. Yeah, yeah. So Z was working. Yes, I do remember Z. Just 1 second. So, and that's where like I was coming from. In fact, they Mm, so just 1 second. What we could do is reactions, total reactions. Undo tree display, maintain history of clipboard actions, not working chat panel, terminal panel blank, Z hangs after some time, Z and Z preview. Okay, let me see if there was anything enclosed. Or actually, you know what? I think I did. I comment on diffuse GitHub, right? And let's so Git integration. Yeah, I think this is where they had it. A Git panel similar to VS Code 1, a diffuse for things that have changed. Ability to interact. Git blame in gutter. Git blame inline. Okay, no, this is different. Mm-mm. So I do remember, oh, they were closed quite some time before, so I don't think the top ranking issues. Let's look at this. This would be actually cool if they support it, right? I don't know how they'll do it though. iOS support for iPad? Oh damn. Hmm. Hi Suraj, welcome to the stream here. Hello. We're just going to Z issues. We're trying to find out. Uh, uh, okay, you know what? I'll do this thing. This is where probably I'll start Claude here. Look at Z editor issues PRs and see if they have built something similar to this project where Git commits are tracked for history view, something similar to how PyCharm has it. Point me to the issue or PR, if any. Look at all of them. Okay, so I would just want, okay, for the ease, otherwise it just spends time looking at which one is it. So, yeah, you can search commit history, git history, commit history. Yeah, they should give them something at least for. So, yeah, I mean, I clearly remember, but I could be missing something here. But yeah, Z has it. I'm not sure how they built it though, or if it's very. Okay, it's now a shift feature. Here's the map of. Yeah, okay. Implement file history viewing, including local and git. Yeah, there you go, right? Yeah, so this is okay. This was quick. Yeah, this had 260 likes as well. Really missed that one coming from VS Code. Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. There you go, right? Show file history. There you go. So this was completed with 42441. Uh, So it does show you all the changes that were done to that particular file, although I am not sure if they have really built on something. Oh, is it Nihal? Okay. Yeah, we'll have to check with them. But I am not sure how did they really get repositories. So they have it in, yeah, there you go, right? File history view, commit tool tip. No, this is all the UI stuff. I don't think I care about this one, or maybe I do. Yeah, so this one should have all the logic, file history view. Now, I am very curious, what is the algorithm they wrote? And this to me looks like only UI at least. Okay, yeah, this was git underscore UI itself. So their file history entry, file history paginated, commit end, working directory, any git path. They do format. Yeah, yeah, so there you go, right? They do this. They call a particular command of git and they get the output from there, right? And I am actually not sure if that really works out well for them. Have they really tested this out? What's the git command here? Git binary path, working directory, args. What are the args? Args.push limit star skip args equal to no optional logs, log, follow. Yeah, so they at this point they just follow, right? But how do they really? I remember we had checked follow, but I don't think that was as accurate as we thought. This is all UI. I mean, even if not UI, I don't think. Why do they have a? Hmm. Okay. So what I can do is would git log follow work as well, or do we really need our diff algorithm here that we have built? I don't think there's some downsides with git log follow, right? Can I do git log follow? No, there was one follow, right? Or maybe I'm just missing out. Just 1 second. Yeah, let's see what does it really give us. But man, git follow. अच्छा यार एक तो so this is the problem, right? Log follow. Is there any man git here? Can I do this? No, I cannot, right? Yeah, that's one of the problems. But I could. Mm, yeah, I could do this. Sorry, guys. No, gitlog follow. Yes, gitlog follow alone cannot. But does it really exist? It doesn't, right? They operate at different granularities, and you already use follow as an input to the algorithm. But the more interesting point, the algorithm you really should benchmark against isn't gitlog follow, it's gitlog hyphen L. Why follow isn't substitutable? Gitlog follow answers a file level question which commits touch this file across renames. Ah, okay. So that particular thing is only for a particular file, but not for a. Okay, it's again a storm in Gurgaon. Uh, yeah. So it's not per line number, right? Yeah. And I clearly remember us not being able to use some of these things because they they missed out on those things. I'm not sure why do we not have git follow here though. Git log follow. So does it? What's the command for this? Yeah, it does work, right? Okay, you just need to pass the particular. Okay, let's see. So if I do git log follow src main.rs, did I do? Yeah. So it does tell me what all commits did this ever touch, but I don't think that supports the line number as well. So okay, at least from that particular commit, it doesn't really look like they have a line history, and I'm not sure if they are really committing to line history as well. And maybe I was just reading things incorrectly there. But yeah, I mean, we should be fine now. We do have an idea that okay, they haven't really done something new. I'm not sure how PyCharm does it though, because PyCharm does it really, really nicely. So that's something that we'll have to check. How many are how many of you are bored actually? What happened here? Why was this launched? Uh, yeah, and this is like one of the things I was very curious about. Okay, yeah. I was just looking at if this particular commit or PR is done from their end. Okay, so sounds like we have to use that nowadays. No, I don't. I did have it installed, but I doubt I ever wanted to try it out. Try agentic layout. Yeah, no. For me, I think at this point, Cloud Code does it all right. The blinds begin. Yeah, yeah. I've closed the door. It's. Is it looking really bad? The problem with the AC is it also sends in some. It's windy and sandy, right? Yeah. Yeah. Gonna be fun. But okay. So we do have something for ourselves now. Okay, anyways, let's go back to what we decided so that if we even if we wrap up the stream, we have something in mind. Otherwise, I keep thinking about yeah, just 1 second. I just came to one. Okay, thank you. Cpilot. readme.md. Right, so we all agree that we'll have to do a server client architecture. Now, regarding the DB, that's going to be interesting. So think about this, that we'll have to have a cache somewhere because the kind of information we store is very expensive if we do line by line, no matter what. At least per my understanding, I don't think Git is that fast enough. Yes, I just use NeoVim almost everywhere, and I do have this thing. So you can just call Claude here, right? And what you can do is, let's say if I would want to just transfer this, I can do comma st, and that will uh, just do it for me. So I don't need to worry about it. And it has almost everything I need. But yes, with respect to Claude, I just generally use the CLI because I feel it's more stable. But yeah, this also sidekick.newvim also exists. Uh, I tried switching to Cursor. I'll not lie. And the thing that I did not like about Cursor was the cursor itself, the agent, right? I would not want to miss out on Copilot, sorry, Cloud Code. And yeah, cursor is totally gone. That's it, right? Like the cursor version 3 that came up. Yeah, I mean, they are going fully agentic, right? And even that, compared to the models they have, whatever answers I was getting there, sometimes my window will crash. But particularly, I feel terminal is always more stable for me, right? Compared to any external editor that is being launched, at least via Cloud Code, I've never seen it hanging or it crashing for me. Given I spawn multiple days of agentic tasks, or not just agentic, but something like long running, right? And the second thing is Just use Pi. What is Pi? Is it another Pi is the best to work with? Uh, I am not sure if I would want to try out Pi coding agent, but this one is yours. Change the website. Have you become Pi man? What is this though? Yeah, Varu did change his stance, I guess. Varu has some energy in himself, like whenever there's something that new comes up, he does give it a try. For 1 month, you will see Varu talking about Pi. Super duper minimal agent. What do you mean by minimal though? Like, why is now? I mean, w- do you think like it's faster than Claude? 1000 token context. Ah, okay, okay, okay. So it's, but can't you just, yeah, and what are the models it uses though? I assume it supports Claude Kite stock, I think is more. So they, uh, मॉडल मॉडल जो जो यूज करना है करो bring your own models or keys. Okay, you guys are works with existing okay, 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 okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if, like, I don't think a world needs a minimal agent harness right now. um I think you will use it. Okay, like, of course, like my can't use it at my job, but I can use it at my work right now. Even when I'm working, right, I'm not using a lot of cloud. Sometimes I do end up using Perplexity though. If I'm so I'm Yeah, I mean, you all have done that with me. I've switched things just because you guys have kept talking about it. We all have that curiosity level because you don't use it more often. Interesting sales pitch. Nice. Okay, we'll try it on the stream Monday. Anyways, are they even funded though? Who is funding them? This is for new guys, so they can spend all day configuring. No, I think like the whole existence of NeoVim is more prominent now, right? If you think about it. Earlier, people were caring about diff as well, but Claude has already become better in that sense. You can click on a particular tool call and see what is the diff from there. And given like NeoVim is very minimal, I think it just gives you more opportunities to quickly look at the code and browse. Because if you have to really browse a code, I think NeoVim has good enough features if you like keyboard, right? And there's AI integration as well already there. So as I said, maybe the agent is what powers OpenClaw. Okay. Yeah, these are the things I've been quite away with. I'll be very honest, I don't know much about OpenClaw as well. I've just heard you guys talking about it, nothing else. I've been away from all this. Yeah, oh, okay, okay. This is the thing that came into news, right? It doesn't really work on Linux though, right? It shouldn't. Or does it? Let's try. Okay. OpenClaw works for Unix the best, is it? So how will it really fetch details from my WhatsApp if I don't? How do they do that? So it's right now getting installed. Do they have any boat integration? Is it simple? But yeah, I mean, So now it's asking me, okay, okay, so it's asking me a modular auth provider, and I have none of these things. Yeah, okay, it just ended up Claude, but yeah, I mean Anthropic. So Claude ka subscription is not equal to Anthropic API. I think that's a separate subscription or money you have to pay. I'm not sure. So let's see if okay, Claude CLI plus API key. Okay, I would use CLI. Okay, so okay, they can allow. I'm sorry, I was wrong. So now they're like, okay, which channel Google Chat API? I am not sure. This is a lot. Okay, what is this though? Meridian. Interesting. So then to scamming market, you shifted to Windows here. Yeah, don't make me shift again. Okay, so now it's asking me for a. Okay, I don't want to. Okay, the setup is quite tiring though. I'll just skip it for now. You have bloated your system by installing OpenClaw. Shouldn't have. Yeah, I did not successfully install it, so it's all good, I think, at this point. They're asking me too many tokens. I don't like sharing tokens. I just feel like MFA, they should be able to fetch it for me. Oh, CAD, okay. I'm not sure why you're doing CAD, by the way. Okay, okay. You have a project. Okay, then that makes sense because, okay, cool. Uh, all right, guys. I think I'll hop off now. It was a good discussion, good stream. He's trying to bring down the YC startup. He has been trying that. I think he'll do it one day. We'll get hired by him. Good stuff. Chalo, cool. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm feeling very tired and sleepy, so I'll go. Uh, Good short stream, I guess. We'll see each other after IPL final. Whoever wins, that will decide my career. If RCB wins, I'm fine. If RCB doesn't, I think, yeah, if the weather is good, sure. But yeah, क्या time हो रहा है? What's the time? Okay, I don't know. Okay, 4:14. रात को बीते हैं वरु थोड़ा सा. I'm gonna go sleep, but we'll catch up. Okay. All right. Cool, cool, cool. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Good luck. Thank you, Varu. Thank you, Dev. Yeah, yeah, sure, sure, sure. Okay, done. Thank you. Uh, Thank you, Suraj, for joining. Thank you. Thank you, Mummy. Thank you, Swanand. All right. Bye, everyone. Bye. Good night. बड़े लोग भाई बड़े लोग. Bye.